Hello and Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh to my dear lecturer Sir Azizi. My name is Muaz bin Rufli from CS24554A, and today I am going to briefly explain about my individual project, which is about the FTP protocol. So basically, file transfer protocol, or also called as FTP, there are three types of them, and all of these protocols are being used to transfer file over a network. So we can see here in the slide, it is being shown that there are three types. The first is FTP, File Transfer Protocol, which is the standard protocol. The second is SFTP, Secure File Transfer Protocol, which the main difference is that it has security. And TFTP, Trivial File Transfer Protocol, and I am going to explain more on next slide. So basically, FTP, it is not secure. The data transfer is not encrypted. The data sent is in clear text. If data is not sensitive and from trustworthy sources, then we can use FTP, File Transfer Protocol, the standard one. It is connection-oriented protocol, and it uses TCP for file transfer. For SFTP, it has layer of security, which means that it will have some sort of security when we are transferring the file. It is being encrypted using secure shell. As FTP also have authenticate user and server, it use port 22 normally, and it is connection oriented protocol, which means it use TCP for file transfer. And this is my individual project, TFTP. TFTP is stand for Trivial File Transfer Protocol. It is a very simple transfer protocol. It is not used to transfer file over the internet. All of them are files that are going to be transferred in the network, but for the FTP, it cannot be transferred over the internet. It is mainly used for transferring file within a local area network, which means it is maybe in a building with the same connection on a network. Then we can use TFTP. And usually the file transfer using TFTP is configuration files and also firmware images to neighbor devices such as firewall and router. Most people will never use TFTP because it is not common. It is not common. It is not secure. And I mean, like, it is not many people that want to share configuration files. It is connectionless protocol, which means that it uses UDP instead of TCP. This means that TFTP is unreliable transfer protocol, and it does not provide any security, unlike SFTP. So what is TCP and UDP? TCP is a connection-oriented protocol, whereas UDP is a connectionless protocol. As I mentioned just now, FTP and SFTP use TCP protocol, which they are connection-oriented protocol. And for my project, the FTP, it uses UDP, which means it is a connectionless protocol. The key difference between these two types of protocol to transfer file is that speed. So basically, TCP is comparatively slower than UDP. This means that FTP and SFTP is lower than TFTP, but it has its own drawback. UDP is much faster, simpler, efficient protocol, but the drawback is that it cannot retransmit data if any lost packet happen. I mean, like, if we want to send configuration files over the network by using the FTP, then if the file somehow lost packets, it cannot retransmit the data. That is the drawback with the FTP. But it is faster and simpler and efficient than TCP. I mean, than FTP and SFTP. So that is why I'm using the FTP. So now I am going to show my project. So I am using two server and client. Basically, one server and one client. This is the client. I will show you the configuration first. And this is the server. This is the server. The right hand side is the server. What do we call it? Coding and server.py, and this is the server IP address. The port used 9999, and if the data has been sent, if the server get the data, then the server will say that file berjaya diterima, and it is and if the all the packet have been transferred successfully, it will say file downloaded. For the client side, it will send the file to the server. So basically, the project is about sending a file from client to the server, from the left to the right. So this is the what client will say when it is sending file, sedang menghantar file. We can change it here, and we can change it for the just what it's going to say. File download. I'm going to change it here. Uh, okay, so I'm going to set here. Okay, so I am going to send my file. Basically, I have to make a new txt file, such as let's say, for example, ITT440.txt. So I need to say here, so Azizi is very handsome and um, the best. Okay, so I'm going to save the file. I'm going to see the nano client. Okay, so and then I have to send the file. I save it as tadi ITT440. Okay, in here nano server. Okay, then I have to run the server. Python 3 server.py to run the server, and Python 3 client.py with the IP address of the server, which is 192.168.42.28, and the file that I am going to send, ITT440.txt. So I just go and it will show sedang menghantar file berjaya diterima, ITT440.txt, and it will say that a file dah siap download lah, because I changed some command in there earlier. So if we can see here, we can see that we get the ITT440 file. So if we open the file, ITT440.txt. Okay, so this is the best and here is the best. So I will show you again. Make a new file. Okay, as you can see here, there are 5 files: ABC, ITT440, MOAS, private, and server. So I want to send a new file. Let's say MOAS, no, food. There is no food file here. You can see food.txt. So we are going to make a new file, my food.txt. I love to eat nasi lemak. Save the file. Then I'm going to run food.txt. So I'm going to run the server Python 3 it is waiting for the data being sent from the client. So now the client is going to send food.txt. We're going to run it, the matter file ready timer, and it takes about 1 to 2 seconds to send the file, and file does download. And you can see here, as we have a new file called food.txt compared to the earlier the earlier version have no food.txt. Now it has food.txt because the file have been successfully transferred from client to the server. And if we open it, we can see food.txt. I left it in nama. The same as here in the client, which means all the data has been successfully transferred from client to the server. And the I'm sorry. Non-client. This is the configuration. Server. This is the configuration. So the file take about 2 seconds because I set it here to be 2 seconds. So that is all from me. I will update the file to the GitHub, and that is all from me. So thank you for listening.